Welcome everybody to another episode. We back in the building.
Yeah.
Appreciate you all for all the constant support. Brother Smooth is here.
Yes, sir. What's up?
LT is here. I'm Adam Butler. That's Paul Span.
Black Man Span in the building.
What we tuned into?
The MSR podcast studio version.
The studio.
You know what I'm saying?
In the studio.
Studio files.
Yeah. Listen, follow us. MSR Tribe on Instagram. MSR Pod on TikTok. Mindstream Radio on Facebook. I need to make all those the same thing, and I will. So I have to say different names.
We're working on it.
We're working on it, though. They all been around for a very long time.
Yes.
So go ahead and follow those things. Yeah.
Legacy.
Their legacy accounts for sure. Go ahead and follow those things. Subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. Shouts to you. Subscribe, like the video, hit the notification bell. If you're listening to us on podcast platforms, whether Spotify, Apple, or whatever, remember to rate and review the show. Subscribe to the podcast. Thank you so much. All right. As usual, we got a lot of show for you. We do want to start off with something real quick that we hadn't talked about. Is actually, it's not old news at this point, but it is something it's been a few weeks old, but we want to get to it because we haven't had an opportunity to talk about it. It's the native land thing and the Joe Budden thing. Just real quick before we get to our main topics of the show. Shouts to the Native Land podcast because we've talked about them on this show before. We showed a clip of their show before. We shouted them out. I enjoy that podcast. A lot. I know Bakari Sellers is good. He's a homie of mine. Worked with him in the past. I've been paying attention to that show a lot more because Bakari's on the show. But they had a wild, interesting moment a few weeks ago. In regards to the Joe Budden podcast, in regards to Queen's Flip and Mark Lamont Hill, and the argument. Most of you have seen the argument that they had on their show by now. I'm not going to revisit and get all deep into why they were arguing. We all know
you can go logistics of it.
Huh?
They can go look that up.
Yeah, you can look that up. Mark Lamont Hill, don't call me a sucker, and all of that. The Native Land podcast had a couple of comments about it, and at this point, a lot of people broken it down. They had Charlemagne on the show to kind of talk about it. I will say I am on the Charlemagne Joe Budden side of this one. And this isn't to, and Smooth, you share your thoughts on this one because son, you and I talked about pre-production. For me, it's not to pick on the Native Land podcast. What I want to really address is in these times, what we got going on right now. I don't think we should be separating ourselves by intellectual and non-intellectual. I don't consider myself an intellectual. I really don't. It's funny. I was having a conversation with my wife. So if you all watch Love is Blind, for the people that watch Love is Blind, there's a character on Love is Blind named Edmund. Edmund has gone viral because Edmund is an interesting person. Like he's an eccentric person. He doesn't have the deepest vocabulary. So when he speaks, sometimes Edmund does not sound intelligent when he speaks, right? He loses words. He stutters. He gets you could see him trying to find the big word to use. And he doesn't have, especially because he's on television. But Edmund is a real estate agent. Edmund is a college graduate. Edmund made it onto a television show. Edmund has to have some sense of intelligence to do all these things. Some of the things they've been saying about Edmund, I don't even want to say on the show because to me, they're cruel. Even if they're true, it's not for us to diagnose anybody with anything. Reason why I'm bringing Edmund up is because my wife and I had this conversation and we were talking about him. And I was saying, I know people with master's degrees that struggle speaking publicly. That seem like they have low vocabulary. And I think that sometimes we get caught up in, do I have the grandest vocabulary? Or how many degrees do I have? Or who do I know and who do I rub shoulders with and who has blessed me and told me that and knighted me and anointed me intellectual, especially amongst black folks.
We
really do have a split between us, Smooth, between college educated, HBCU, this, that, and another. I'm Greek, I'm this, I'm that. No disrespect to anybody. My man's here is Greek, so my wife is Greek. But if you aren't part of that, sometimes I'm telling you, people that aren't part of it feel left out of the conversation. And I personally think that's what happened during the election. I think a lot of people that didn't quite understand why they should be doing this, that, and another, and really wanted answers. A lot of people looked at those people, and at times I did too, looked at those people and was like, if you too dumb to figure this out, then I ain't got time to talk to you. And I'm not going to just focus on the election with this one, but I think we do this in general. And I think that native land thing versus Joe Budden thing was a beautiful microcosm of a bigger issue that we have in our culture. The elite smarts versus the hood nigga.
Right.
And this whole thing with Mark Lamont Hill, should he or shouldn't he
be in certain
spaces? To me, I'm glad that a lot of people told the beautiful people of the Native Land podcast that that's not the move and you all shouldn't be as elite. For transparency, the Native Land podcast with Bakari Sellers, a former congressman from South Carolina, Angela Rye, who is one of the most prominent political black voices in America, Tiffany Cross, another prominent political black voice, and Andrew Gillum, who was a former mayor in Florida and ran for governor and got national attention. So these are like national black journalism.
Credible people.
These are incredible people.
100% credible.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, Smooth? So like that's just my thoughts on that. I know you wanted to share yours.
I think right now, because of where the nation is, we're having a difficult time separating the different voices.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest pieces. I think during like President Obama's tenure, even President Biden, there really wasn't much. It wasn't until Trump came in until we really started to start shooting at each other about you're dumb. You made this decision. You made that decision. This political discourse has changed. But I do think though that there are some people that are more engaged and educated in civics than other people, but everyone has an opinion. Right.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times it's easy to like, you can't be a part of this conversation. Like, why are you even here? Like, you're not helping anything.
Right.
And that does start to separate people when we should actually be coming together.
Yeah.
And sometimes having people on platforms that can speak to a certain demographic that maybe you can't maybe reach.
Yeah.
Right. Dr. Mark Lamont Hill is a very like, he's a fascinating man. He's able to speak from all different types of every angle. He's able to talk about sports, pop culture, politics, art, a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And I think that's a valuable thing to bring to maybe a not so polished, but it's a polished podcast.
Yeah.
Very clear that Joe Budden podcast is very polished. But to be able to speak to these things amongst other people who probably don't deal with them on a day-to-day basis, it allows to be able to stretch the conversation. What's true, what's not true, right?
Yeah.
You're able to have someone there to kind of like gauge that.
Yes.
It's no different than, a music conversation, right? It's no different than us having a broadcast or media conversation and you having more insight into the lower thirds or what this means or what that means and what's important.
Right.
And I think that, even if you're on a podcast that's talking about women's health, there's still a space to be able to help bridge those gaps. I think that's what we need to start focusing on is people, especially in this political spaces. How do we bridge those gaps? How do we help people either get the resources, the tools to be able to understand this, right? Because we want people to be more engaged. We don't want people to be disengaged.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes those attitudes, not specifically towards them, but just in general, is that, I know more than you and shut up.
Yeah, go ahead, P.
So listen, God bless all of their accolades. Like God bless it, because it is something to be touted. It is something to be admired in achievement. You understand what I'm saying? But I also say this. So what?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, because what happens is the element of smugness that comes with what we're talking about is actually dangerous.
Yeah.
And it's dangerous because you're so busy being smug with people that you should be bringing along and even attempting to break things down to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
Especially for people that are non-dangerous.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like when Stephen A. Smith, who has a large platform, gets on and he has rhetoric that is counterproductive, that's dangerous.
Right.
For someone being in actuality ignorant, and I don't even mean ignorant like in a stupid matter, I really mean ignorant to a matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Help them.
Right.
Don't make them feel stupid about being who they are. And on top of that, every sector and every person has their value, and they have their level of intellect.
Right.
Queen's Flip can talk to a street dude on certain levels, and even
he is classic.
The way that he can talk to him can broaden his horizon and allow him to listen to other messages. See what I'm saying? So he has purpose, and he has a voice. Mark Lamont Hill has big purpose, and it's not only. Why would he only be in a space where everyone speaks and talks like him?
Right.
Why would he?
Right.
Where everybody's going to agree with each other.
Right.
Like, who would that benefit? The fact that they can sit, understand something. Adam and I have done numerous things over the years in schools. There's a formula to certain things, and we always went there just as ourselves, not as hood monoliths, not as the elite of the elitists, but just as two young men who cared about certain things and presented things a certain way. Dressing mattered when we went into those schools. Not that anything that we did was a gimmick, but we knew how to reach.
Just play the game.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So like what we've seen, how things in that manner can become dangerous when we begin to alienate people. Then other people on other sides whose actions are more nefarious think, man, we can do a little bit of chicanery and fooling with these people because they're already being shunned over here. We can let them know, hey, hey, you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So I don't think that thought process has ever been, like I said, not to crap on anybody, but that overall thought process is overtly counterproductive in my opinion.
Yeah, and just to add, I agree 100% with both of you. Just to add, the worst part about it is they were commenting on things that they had not and admitted they had not watched.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right? Because, like, Queen's Flip, you don't know if he's smart or not. You don't know if he's politically
if he's
savvy
playing a character or not.
Yeah. Right. And so, and I find that just happens with, and this isn't the case for the Joe Budden podcast at all. Like, you know, I mean, I fool with the Joe Budden podcast, but it's not our job to protect the Joe Budden podcast,
not
right?
Really,
like, it's not like, you know, they're not thinking about us at all. But I find that a lot of people, you know what? I'm just going to, even the whole thing with podcasts in general. And we're going to get to our segment in a minute. I just want to say this. Even the thing with podcasts in general, too many podcast mics, the defund podcast mic. I find myself getting offended by that. Like, I really do.
Yeah.
Maybe because I've been a podcaster for so long.
Yeah.
That's what I was.
Right. Like, I loved when internet radio but later became podcasting became a thing, because I love that we used to say this all the time. The gatekeepers are gone. I worked in radio. I know how I did air check after air check after air check. I did midnight, shifts, and I ran boards, and I knew people who were super talented who could not get the gig because someone was holding on to it for 30 years. Right? And it just is what it is. So when you have an opportunity for people to have voices, people can determine what's a dumb voice or not. And listen, we say this, and I don't want to be a hypocrite here, because we here to break down the manosphere 100%. Okay? 100%. There's a dark side to everything. But I don't like this idea, especially when it's a podcast full of men, that you immediately, and they aren't Dr. So-and-so and so-and-so, Professor blah, 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 from Howard University. And I've got a da-da-da-da-da. And I was at the Martha's Vineyard with you last week, remember?
Right.
Fort Sioux. Yeah, if you're not that.
Shout outs to Professor blah, blah, blah.
From at Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
I go to the Vineyard. And
Professor Blah is wild.
But, I'm trying to say here, like, if you're not, like, if you're just a pod full of brothers, immediately people just shun you off and say that y'all ain't talking about, y'all just on there talking about that. And I don't like that.
Right.
And I do think that, the Joe Budden podcast get as ratchet as the next. Sometimes it's ridiculous, but like a lot of white boys get ridiculous on their podcasts. To me, it's the same thing we were saying a few weeks ago about some of the politicians that failed by not going on Rogan and all these other shows. Kamala Harris actually just came out and said, God bless her, keeping it a buck, I probably should have did Joe Rogan. Why? And I'm saying this because Paul mentioned Stephen A. Smith, and we just talked about Stephen A. Smith 2 weeks ago with Panama. Shouts to Panama.
Shout out Panama.
Very critical of Stephen A. Smith. But folks should go on Stephen A. Smith's show. Why? Because it's a big ass platform and you challenge that man. What they should have done is said, you know what? We got a problem with what Joe and them was talking about. And we got a problem with what happened with Mark. Hey, Mark, you think we can get on the show and debate Joe? Same way they had Charlemagne come on and debate them. Right? I just felt like there was a immediate dismissal.
That was a great parallel.
Yeah, I just felt like there was a great immediate dismissal of the podcast in general because their man was on there arguing with somebody and they immediately dismissed it as these rockhead, no bottom niggas.
Right.
And again, not to pick on the native land. And also, I should point out that Andrew and Bakari were on the other side of Tiffany and Angela. And I should also point out that because it's been a minute now, Angela actually reached out to Angela Rye, I should give her the respect of her whole name, actually reached out to Queen's Flip by Queen Flip's own words and said that she apologized to him. She reached out to him. She got on the show when they had Charlemagne on and apologized for even how they titled the show.
Right.
Took full responsibility. So again, it's not to pick on them. It's just I think that when Smooth brought this up earlier, it's just the bigger picture of where we're headed and what we're about to get into in 2026, 2027, 2028. We got a person who is pushing us to the limit and making us really look at ourselves and think about what this country is, what we are in this country, what we need to fight, not fight this, that, and another. We need everybody. You know, man, Jon Snow said or Game of Thrones, I need the entire living North. Okay, everybody to be involved.
Yes.
Okay, so that means you're going to have to holler at those dudes in the barbershop that may say some shit that you be like, man, what?
Yeah.
You got to find common ground. You may have to accept that they flat earthers. Okay? Let them be flat earthers, but can we agree on voting rights? Can we agree on SNAP benefits? Can we agree that you shouldn't be snatching people off the street and throwing them in vans?
Bro, elitism and that ideology needs to be definitely disbanded for in our community and for us, for the mere fact that the president of the United States in no way, shape, or form is an intellectual.
See, so that's right. That's what I'm saying. Elitism exists in every race, in every culture. I understand that, right? And I don't want to act like I am an expert. And we're gonna wrap up. You can have the final word if you want, P. I don't want to act like I'm the expert on. Well, I don't know if T wanted to say anything about this too. I'm sorry, but I don't want to act like I'm the expert on all cultures and the dynamics of every culture. Okay, but I will say that you're 100% right. Some of the dumbest voices, white people are led by comedians.
Come on.
Their leading political voices are not Dave Chappelle intellect level comedians, just comedians who just say real shit. For us, it's a battle between homie in the barbershop or Professor so-and-so from da-da-da-da. And again, I just think, like we talked about with our hip-hop conversation last week, middle ground, balance. Balance. Be open to hearing other voices. That's my last word on it. Did anybody else want to jump in?
T?
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I was going to speak upon, Adam spoke upon earlier, was, we talked about this in last month's show when, we were talking about how, people need to go on these shows and these platforms for the sake of educating some of those people that watch said platforms and things like that. So you don't want to necessarily like shun like the people that you think are, beneath you because you're like, oh yeah, I'm too great to have a Theo Vaughn on my show to debate him about whatever he said or whatever, and that's just an example, but it's like, you can't do that, like you might not agree with a person, but sometimes that's where we get, a lot of our information, and a lot of times that people watch that type of stuff. A lot of people want to watch that because they want that conflict, right? But in that, you still might get like some actual, genuine information. You know what I'm saying? So it's always good to like, that whole adage of, like opposites attract, things like that. They happen, not just in relationship wise, but just all over, like someone that's not like you might actually get a good conversation and learn something from them.
Right.
And they'll definitely learn something from you. I mean, I talk to people in the gym all the time that have that same mindset. And I still, I'm still, talking to them because, now they're coming to me and saying like, hey man, I got I need to get your opinion on this thing. And then I say my piece, they say their piece, and I'm like, okay, well, sometimes it's like an agree to disagree, or, they, I might have changed somebody's mind, gave them a bigger perspective, So don't just, shun the people that you think, oh yeah, that's a stupid thing to say, so you are all over stupid now.
One more quick thing.
Sure.
For me, I think we have to kind of get out of our feelings, especially when it comes to media. I think we have to remember that media is there to inform. The media is there to educate, to entertain. There's a lot of reasons why media is there. And what's your relationship with why you're watching that media? I think sometimes we have to kind of go back to that. Theo Vaughn is not a political commentator. He's a comedian who happens to be in front of microphones. Right. We have to kind of just put people where they are. Everyone doesn't have the same responsibility.
Right.
And I think, again, comes back to the media literacy thing, is what am I consuming and why am I consuming it?
Yeah.
And I don't think people are necessarily going to certain podcasts for the MSNBC or the BBCs or whatever the case may be, trying to get their news. They want to be entertained. Now, they may be talking about newsworthy things, but that's your responsibility to go to do your Googles and see what's online about it, right? And I think we put too much responsibility onto media personalities and figureheads. Like, we got to start putting responsibility onto us as consumers.
Yep. All right, we're hopping into the virtual studio for just a quick second to wrap with Martie Bowser. We're gonna follow up our conversation from last week about the Billboard Top 40. I think I may have been wrong about a couple of things, P. So we have a professional here to potentially correct me on what I may or may not have been
set us
right
straight.
or wrong.
Absolutely. Oh no.
Thank you for joining us. First, before we get started, just kind of run through your resume. Let the people know why you're here on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Blessings.
My name is Bowser. I am a journalist. I live in Charlotte. But before journalism, I owned a PR company for 13 years. And my bread and butter was entertainment, music, hip hop specifically. And then I transitioned into journalism. So I am a journalist for Blavity, Forbes, Essence, Ebony, all that from like lifestyle, travel, music, entertainment. So yeah, I've seen all facets of the AI kind of stepping into this lane, whether it be in music or just media in general. So yeah, it's real interesting.
Definitely. So the resume is deep. We appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna just start off, P, because I want to just start off with what we talked about last week. My man Paul, my man Brother Smooth. It wasn't like you all like we weren't arguing, but I think I was probably arguing that the idea that hip hop not being in the top 40 was less of a good thing than a bad thing. Since then, we've had Grammy nominations, the Clips, J.I.D., Glorilla, of course, Kendrick Lamar, Tyler, the Creator. All of these albums have been heavily represented in Grammy nomination, which has caused a counter argument for that. People saying, now look, if hip hop is dead, then why is it being heavily nominated and heavily represented in the Billboard chart? Obviously, Smooth in particular made the point that, just because hip hop isn't in the top 40 doesn't mean that there's something wrong. Let me ask you, Martie, like hip hop not being in the top 40, I believe for the first time in like 35 years or something like that.
like 1990 was the last time. It wasn't
19.
something like that.
What's your
crazy.
assessment of that? Do you think? What's your assessment of that? Is that a good thing or a bad thing, or does the truth lie in the middle?
I want to say it's in the middle because for me, a lot of times when we look at these like I call them like totems, I guess, of things that have over the years kind of like aged what was popular. It's fickle. It's always fickle. I mean, for a time there was a time where they said like the Grammys wasn't a something we should gauge a person's success by or anything like that. I mean, coming down, even if you want to say Beyonce, like, oh, what does it matter? Because she never won, so when you look at Billboard, and for the first time in a long time, it hasn't, but this, I think, has been one of the most impactful years for hip hop. If you just look on a social scale, to the point to where like Kendrick for the Super Bowl, just things like that, to where it's like you can't deny the impact of it. So it brings back that question of how much validity do we put in these grading scales? Where are they coming from? Who's looking at them? Where are the numbers coming from? One, which kind of bleeds into the AI and like all the like the realness of that. So where even for journalists, we question it because like they come out with those lists every year, the best this, especially starting now because it's the end of the year. So we used to have the who was the Uncle Murray, the wrap ups where he would do like the funny wrap ups at the end of the year.
Year-end wrap-up.
And now you get year-end wrap-ups for like the best this of 2025, the best that. And it's always a conversation. It's always a thing. But I think it really is one of those things to where it's like, I think it's very respective to where you're like, how much faith do you put in something like Billboard to gauge what the top 40 is and what people are necessarily listening to when you see the impact of it? Because you think about what we've seen on social media and on TV as far as like how big the impact these music artists are making, and you would think that definitely they deserve to be in that. And then you also think about maybe it's because a lot of the media that we, and when I say me, I mean Black people, we consume is a little localized. Like we see the impact. Like I don't know if you've been watching how crazy NBA YoungBoys, like
we talked about that.
This massive concert is going, but Homeboy's not gonna be on Billboard's top. You would, for us it might be far fetched because we see him every single, day selling out, but he's not gonna be on that. So it kind of also makes you think that there's a wider scope than what we might be seeing or ingesting when it comes to music too, to where there's some artists that you probably never heard of that are on that because they're world artists. They are, there's still a thing to where it's more of them than us. So that like I had to realize how big K-pop was. That one time I was like, what this? And to know that it reached from not only just in like the Asian community, but like white community, not non-Black, Black, anything like that. So I'm like, who are these boys? But that's because that's just not my lane. So I think it's just a sign, a turn of the times to whether you want to look at it as, are you going to pay attention to what Billboard is grading, or are you going to realize there's more out there than what we might be listening to?
Understood.
P, one more question before you jump in, just to follow up on last week's conversation. I learned a lot about the Billboard. Shouts to King Green and some of the and Torre and the people that did, a kind of a breakdown of the Billboard. King Green called it Billboard for Dummies, right? And I learned about like how certain songs fall off the Billboard at certain points, how there's curated playlists, things like that. Is there any insight you can offer us, Martie, that like how the Billboard works? And how maybe there may have been a hip hop song, but it went on for a certain amount of weeks and then it couldn't be in the top 25 or the top 40 and things just like weird, rules that the Billboard apparently changes often.
I would say they changed it a lot. Cause I remember like when I was heavy in music, it was a lot based on streaming. And it was a lot of based on like, the actual engagements and streaming of the artists. And they took numbers from here and here, all this stuff like that. I don't know if they're still doing that, but I do know it's very much based upon as far as like the engagement when it comes. Because now they've also looked at like the social engagement, like how many times this thing got put on TikTok, how many times this thing got put on here. I mean, TikTok even has their own Billboard chart. And so it's a lot of that is factored in there to where it knocks a lot of that stuff off. And then we also have to look at licensing goes into this as far as like how many things get streamed. A lot of artists don't want some of their songs available on some platforms. They can't be because of this and that. So I think there's a lot of logistics, unfortunately, that possibly might hinder hip hop from going into it too, because it's just not as easy as some of these other songs that get on there. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of rules as far as like the streaming, the what label is behind you, how far it's getting pushed, what they're doing, and also radio play. We don't have the hip hop radio stations anymore. They're not. You might have one in your city, depending on what city you're in.
Right.
Most radio stations that are still surviving, they're corporate owned, they're ABC, Fox owned, or something like that. So they have that same playlist. They're going to play, you probably, if you sit there for a good 5-6 hours, you might hear the same song 7 times, depending on, who find it. So it's a lot of that to where I'm not surprised that hip hop isn't in it, just because of like where hip hop is right now with the artists kind of, I'm not going to say slowing momentum, but kind of figuring out how to make this work. I don't think they're keeping up when it comes to being able to fit the demand of what Billboard grades.
Right. When we were having this conversation inside the studio, myself and one of the other guys were talking about how that so many people have been able to curate their own, maybe not as large of a fan base, but their own fan base within what they do, be it their niche area, be it, the things that they're talking about, and knowing how to utilize so many other things that they're not as overtly concerned with Billboard as things may have been in the past. Do you think that has something to do with it also? Like, and I had used the example of a person like La Russell, who has like a curated fan base. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that has anything to do with it also?
Oh yeah. I mean, even down to, I go further than that. Y'all remember Ryan Leslie, right?
Yes.
So Ryan Leslie, and when it comes to this digitization thing, it's been here for a long time. Like, this isn't like, it's not new. It's just changed and evolved, and access makes it look different. But Ryan Leslie sold 1 million records through text message.
Wow.
He wasn't on any Billboard.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
you have to think about that. Like I said, you look at NBA YoungBoy, who hadn't put out an album in a while, and Homeboy has sold out every show off of an album that did not get any major label push. And then we'll go back to like New Orleans artists. I always use them as, because that's home. I always use them as a,
and that fan base is so serious.
yeah, I always use them as a totem, as far as like, you can have a bounce artist. Like, okay, we know Frida now as far as like a mainstream artist because of, breaking out with Beyonce and Drake. But Frida was a millionaire making music before she, she didn't have to leave New Orleans, or, they didn't have to do that. And so, and those songs with, being featured were the first time that you saw her name on Billboard, but she was already selling out shows.
Right.
She was,
right.
And media has just kind of made that even more of a thing now, because we have so much access to our favorite artists. Like, they can go on live and stream their whole album and make the same amount of money they might have made on tour or something like that, and not have to leave their home anymore. That won't go on Billboard, but I bet you there were maybe 25. So think about, like, Verzuz came out. There were how many millions of people were watching that? None of that gets Billboard. None of that gets charted. None of that goes into a computer to count the plays or whatever. But does that mean that artist isn't doing what they're supposed to do?
Right.
So,
with that being said, I think per Adam's question and per the things that you were saying, that I think that this does signify a space where the thought of this is more in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Than like it either being like a horrible thing or being a terrific thing. You know what I'm saying? I think if we think about it in the vein of like you said, all of those new curated spaces and all of the ways to get music out, I think it's kind of a good thing in that people are owning much more of their own space, and I think it is a good thing to figure out a way to lessen as much of corporation as possible in regard of artistry.
Yeah, I totally. Like I said, you come back to that thought of like how much, I guess, stock are we putting in these metrics as far as those, especially when you look at hip hop,
Right.
because if you look at the history of Billboard, while they're media, so they can't be they can't be biased. They're supposed to be often. They have more literature kind of attuned to demonizing hip hop than they do in the support of it. And not saying that, that's their mission, but we know who pushes the buttons a lot over there. And
Right.
then when we even trickle down to media for us, we see this attack on Black media, specifically Black urban media. Vibe is gone.
Right.
Like
Right.
Made that point last week. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
it merged with Rolling Stones. Well, how come the only people who lost their jobs were the people who wrote for Vibe?
Right.
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 You
Right.
see that. You see, like it wasn't necessarily a Black publication, but like Pitchfork, which was like one of the last places you could go for like new, like the emerging artists, and they kind of gave platform. They don't have Condé Nast, GQ bought them, and it's it's damn near just a subtitle now. So
Right.
when you even look at those platforms that possibly might have introduced people to some of these hip hop artists, those are gone. Billboard's not introducing you to the newest rapper. No, they're not pushing a rapper that all of us. They're not pushing Rob 49's album.
Right.
That was a vibe thing. They're not pushing, and I'm trying to think of the little YNs. I don't know these kids, but they're not pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they're
like
not
the little
pushing.
fella Lareezy.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not pushing
Man.
those. They're pushing, and those would be, and not saying that he gonna end up on the top 40, but that would be somewhere that's a lost spot right there. That's a
Right.
lost
Yeah.
voice to where this
Yeah.
when you do see rap on the top 40, it's probably gonna be the same people who have already broke
Yeah.
into the Billboard mill, but it's not gonna be you're not gonna get that freshman class push
Yeah.
anymore. Those
Yeah.
new ones.
That's such an interesting point, and it's something that we talked about last week. And I think I think I agree that the truth lies in the middle, right? Like, yeah, the world isn't ending, hip hop is thriving, but it's also something that needs to be addressed in terms of hip hop remaining mainstream, right?
Yeah.
Because we talked about all the publications that went away. Excuse me, I talked about a couple of publications. Well, media people that cover hip hop that aren't necessarily interested in hip hop last week. I don't need to repeat their names. I went on them last week, but
Right.
I think that it is important to protect Black music, because the first thing I thought about
yeah.
when I saw hip hop take a dip is I thought about R&B music, and
Oh yeah.
it may sound wild to as we say, like a YN today, right? That R&B at one point when we were teenagers, or depending on how old everybody is, high school, whatever, R&B may not, maybe R&B wasn't number one on the Billboard chart or the number one selling music, but it was almost up there. I mean, it was right behind pop music and hip hop music and rock music. It was a viable genre of music, and now it is not. It's sort of like what happened to R&B, right? I don't want to see that happen to hip hop, and I think that's why I got so passionate about it, because I understand the thought process of like, well, whatever, we don't need those corporations, shout out to the Russell's doing his thing, this person's doing his thing, NBA YoungBoy's doing anything, but like that representation of
Oh yeah.
Black music, and I think you laid out perfectly why it's not just about a Billboard spot, but it's about the machine behind it and how it's being systematically destroyed, right? And that you don't get to learn about new artists, which is something we talked about last week. Kendrick, Drake, Cardi, whoever remaining on the top 40 right now is all good, but who are the new Kendricks, Drakes? Exactly.
It's not sustainable, because after a while, it's almost like I always say this. I was like, the demise of hip hop, or I'm not gonna say demise, but the pervasion of hip hop started when white people realized they can make money off of hip hop. And when that started, we lost it.
Yeah.
Because came about the control of what could they do to make money off of it by using these artists and using these people. So now they became nothing but soap on a shelf. Pretty much, because it's like, it's like every time you introduce, like, you can have your you could be a Dove fan all your life, but for some reason, if they start pushing this new Dr. Bronner's, you gonna want to try it. You gonna want to see, and if you just happen to like it, you gonna forget about that Dove that you've been using for the last 16 years. So it's like, it's the same situation. Like when they found out that they can make music off of hip hop and reach this counterculture, you know, they could use these people who weren't afraid to talk their mind, speak their mind. They were okay with and crazy enough, they were okay with taking second best in a way, or they were okay signing these death contracts. They were okay with not getting paid as much as these white artists. And it was, you know, and they were talking to people that had felt ignored by mainstream as far as like Black and brown people. It really turned into a thing to where, oh, we can control a lot of minds. And then, of course, it trickles down to, like, you know, hip hop and urban culture. One at first was influencing, now it is mainstream. And with the mainstream, it lost the authenticity in a way, to where we start looking at the rappers who sound like what rap sounded like when we started. They don't get any.
And real quick, P, before you jump in, and then we eventually transition to the AI piece. I made that point last week that two of my favorite artists through my lifetime, Public Enemy, which I grew up on, Kendrick Lamar now, right? Funny enough, when you go to their shows, it's mostly white faces in those audiences, and these are artists that are considered to be like revolutionary artists, right? So even artists that kind of break through and do their own thing and are kind of like they don't kind of fall to the plan, right? They still have mostly white audiences checking them out. And I've always found that interesting, that most of the people that were going to Public Enemy shows were white kids. And as has always been interesting to me. And it's not a knock on Public Enemy or Kendrick. It's just how the thing works, you know?
There he is. Because I'm like, seeing these white people out, they're not like us, is weird.
But let me ask you guys this. How much, I mean, and this may be slightly off course, but how much do you think about that is economic driven?
Oh yeah. Because when you price your tickets at $700-800, $600-800, you know what? I'm not saying we can't afford that, but it's like, what do you is a higher chance, you know, especially in certain places. Like, I doubt the average Black person and this is me as a travel journalist, there's not a lot of Black people in Des Moines, Iowa, who got an extra $800 to throw out for a Kendrick. So, So, and again, I'm not saying we don't have it or we don't, because we do by all means, and we go to these. But no, it very much is it's an economic thing, one, and then two, it's like, again, with it becoming mainstream, that means it was just open for the taking. You know, it became a consumer game. It became open air, open market, open game, whatever, access to it. There's no exclusivity to it. And unfortunately, with that, you lose the authenticity, where you go in there and you're like, who are these people?
You do. One more thing real quick, Pete. Real quick, real fast. Sorry, I just got to mention this one thing, and then you take over. My wife and I, this isn't even, well, it is a hip hop story. My wife and I went to go see Dave Chappelle about a month ago.
Talk to her about this,
super
bro.
dope,
Tell her.
Right? Super dope. He bought out the Clips, right? And the Clips did a full show. It was amazing. This is a Grammy-nominated group, but they're currently nominated for a Grammy for Album of the Year. I would say like 15 to 20% of the audience, this is at a Dave Chappelle show, knew who the Clips was. It was so bad, and my wife, if she was in here, she'd giggle at this. It was so bad that the woman sitting next to me, and this was not a white woman, this was a Black woman, literally did not know who they were and was frustrated at the idea of them performing, so much so that she called them, that's supposed to be Dave Chappelle's friends or something, because I don't even know why they're doing this. So it just shows that, like, we live in, when you're a hip hop head, we kind of live in a bubble too.
Yeah,
of how
we're losing
big say we losing recipes. Exactly. That's exactly my point. We're losing recipes, and that's why I'm kind of big on this. And we can transition right into the AI thing, Paul. This is why I'm big on this, because it may not feel like a big deal, but again, as someone who loves R&B music, I remember when R&B music was a top-notch genre, and now it's like this little sub thing that, like, and that's wild to imagine if you think about Aretha Franklin and Stevie Wonder and Michael Jackson, to the extent, all these amazing R&B or R&B-ish artists that control music for decades. Now all of a sudden, R&B is a smaller genre, and it goes through everything Marty was talking about. And I think I just don't want to see that happen to hip hop. You know what I mean?
Right. With that being said, and like you said, in transitioning to the AI aspect of it, during the live show, we were talking about the AI artist that has been all the rage as of late. And it's funny because the other night I was out with the artist Yazara, and I was asking her about it, and she was telling me like how before knowing that was an AI artist and being an artist herself, she was championing for when she thought there was an actual person. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then how, obviously is more disappointment that that's an AI artist, because as someone who isn't first off, she's overtly dope. Yazara, we're gonna have her on the show, and he's like so very dope, but someone who isn't as mainstream as others would be. She said it that thing retracts from certain things, but she also talked to me about the benefits of AI and helping in songwriting and helping in certain things like that. So, I mean, having said all that, what is your take on one that AI artists and the plight of AI as it stands?
Maybe this is my Libra coming out. I don't like it, but I get it.
Yeah.
And I'll start with why I get it first. Again, AI, or like the digitization of music industry, again, it's not new. Like when I was in PR, the biggest thing everybody wanted was the streams, or they wanted the engage, they wanted the clicks, they wanted that blue check. Was like, I literally had people saying, "Hey, we'll pay you $5,000-$6,000 just for a blue check."
Right.
You know, they didn't want PR. They didn't want to do the work. They didn't want to get the interviews. They didn't want to do that.
Right.
I could pay.
Yeah.
That was me reaching out to someone I knew and saying, "Hey, can you put a blue check by this person's name?" So that was a form of it too. And I remember I was in LA and I was with another publicist, and one of her clients was a K-pop person. And the father literally paid, I won't say the record label, $250,000. And that young lady had a gold record the next day, had never stepped foot on American soil, had never stepped foot in those offices, she went into the booth and made the song, but the song that was streaming did not sound like probably what, but she had a gold record. She had a plaque mailed to her by the end of that week, and that was all she wanted. She didn't want to, so I've seen it happen. It didn't look like what it looks like now, but with how it was going, it was inevitable for that to, when we started literally having Sims characters teach kids.
Right.
Yeah.
You could do that. Or like, to where pretty much like, oh, you can stay remote and things like that. I saw it happening. I'll tell like a story as far as like journalism. I got to interview Raekwon, which was like a highest thing ever for me.
Right.
And we about him introducing like his Patreon to people. And I'm like, you like, so how does it feel using this digital space? And he said he liked it because for him it was a communication with the fans that he possibly might not get. But it's weird for him to see how normal, or how like, it's nothing now, because he's like, he came from the age to where he's like, you don't know how many songs didn't get made because we had to be in the studio together, and we got there and we did not like each other. It just did not happen.
Wow.
And he said, and now you'll see artists like they'll have these top 40 songs and have never met. And then when they have to get in that room to do that video, or they have to get on that tour together, they hate each other.
Yeah.
Or they don't vibe, and then we get a shade room story the next day.
Wow.
And then they,
Right.
something else. So I've seen to where, like I said, I don't like it for what it can do to artists, because it literally puts them at a deficit of fighting against perfection, right? But for me, I see it also as a way of like, it can't be perfect, because if we get to like what music is again, and maybe this is the thing with R&B, to where music is very emotional. Music
Yeah.
is very, like, I never argue with people when they tell me who their favorite artist is, because I don't know what that person
it's
got.
their favorite artist, right?
It's
Right.
their favorite art. Yeah.
Unless
Right.
you're saying somebody like Blueface, then I got an argument for you. But like,
Hey.
I'll never
Hey,
argue.
he might be somebody's favorite.
I never argue with people's favorite artists, because I don't know what that person meant to you. And I heard the song of the young lady that got signed and stuff like that, but I beg to see again the sustainability of this, of how it's going to connect with people, to where past this year it's going to be a thing, or when another person creates a better AI formula or another prompt, better artist,
Right.
what's going to happen to her? Because the thing with that is, that's what makes artists better. We connect with these artists when they start, and we grow with them. Like, we start saying the same experiences, or we see their life, or we see that growth.
Yeah.
How many prompts can you give this sim girl, to where if she gonna keep making out hits, to where it just don't start sounding like the same?
Yeah.
Almost like those same things where they could tell when a journalist uses Chat GPT because of the repetition.
Right.
Got 15 M dashes, one paragraph, or you keep saying vibrant, you keep saying so and so. When does that happen to where you need the humanization?
Right.
You need the person behind it. So, like I said, I see why it is what it's doing, but I know it's gonna have a downfall.
I think
eventually.
that the conversation has duality in this. I think that and I think that like true people that really, like you said, emotionalize music, people that feel music, that go to concerts for people's backstory, that know about those things. I think that AI will never be able to take those people away. But I think that for younger children, for kids that are coming up, whom like I look at my great nephews and all them now, and they will, like, my nephew will watch YouTube shows of other people playing video games, or he'll watch like the whole So I think that like for us and for people, in their 30s range and all, I think that experience would be different. But I think this whole AI sensation and all the things that are happening now in technology are really going to be vastly consumed by the younger generation.
Oh yeah, they're gonna like it, because it removes for one, it's the base of like, they have no social skills. They don't have the social skills, so it doesn't hurt them to remove the person from it. It doesn't need, but no, I have a 12-year-old nephew, and I literally cannot stand sometimes having to be in the same room with him, because I know he's gonna get on YouTube and watch the same little boy play Fortnite.
Yeah. I got an 11-year-old, and it's like that. But I will say this, and this is where I agree with Paul, that it's here, but I think, like most things, we'll find balance, right?
Yeah.
I make fun of my boy because he'll watch these things and he'll be like, and then the man went to the bar, and then it's just like an AI voice, somebody just prompted to tell a story, right?
Yes.
But then I found myself on TikTok watching someone created a continuation of The Wire, okay, with AI. Like, it is just like these like cartoon where it's like Avon came back from jail, and there's like the voice is like more normalized. And it took me a minute to realize, oh my God, I'm listening to an AI prompt. This isn't a man narrating a story. This is a guy that went to SOAR or whatever and just like put in Avon Barksdale and string of all these people, and they came up with like AI and animation, and I'm sitting here just like watching it, and I'm like, I'm like, oh, it's like it's a continuation of The Wire. Somebody wrote it,
It's captivating.
right? And so I can see how you can get caught up with the AI artist, and it's also nice that it's also ironic to me that that's an R&B artist, and she's topping the
right. How about that?
charts. That's funny to me.
Boom.
Boom, boom.
Right.
And so, but I do think that to bring this conversation full circle, when we talk about artists, you mentioned Big Frida here in DC. We could talk about go-go artists. They may not have been millionaires, but like Big G and them are stars here, right? And they have viable careers, like
yes,
full careers. And it's we keep bringing up La Russell. We keep bringing up last week the thing with Nas and the old school artists that he's bringing back out, the golden era thing he's doing. There's an opportunity, as Brother Smooth said, to stop the bastardization of hip hop, right? And black music in general. I think we could broaden this to black music and say, okay, Billboard, we'll figure that out later, but the music and the culture still thrives. And I think, Marty, you said it best. It's about having journalists and media outlets that will continue to shine light. So we need a new vibe. We need a new Pitchfork. We need a new XXL, a new Complex, and whoever else. I think that outlets, journalists like yourself carry that torch. I hope that an outlet like ours can help carry that torch. And, that's what has to happen. We just need spotlights on these artists that are actual human beings and black folks that are doing things, and instead of trying to stop what's inevitable, keep a spotlight on the people that are doing things that we feel are genuine and real.
I agree, and I hope while in a way I'm looking at it, is like hopefully the artist uses as a way to reconnect with us, their initial fan, reconnect with the people who have been there supporting them. Like you say, Nas, I got to see him with the symphony. I got to see, all those people. So I hope, then I looked at it and I'm like, all those people, I went to the Gucci, I went to the G, and I'm like, all of us in there probably in our late 30s to early 40s. We was out there with, Snowman, with Illmatics or whatever. We got the money to buy these tickets, one. And two, remember when, we were in college or younger listening to this. So it has something, and it's our job, especially mine as a journalist, to take that on and introduce my 12-year-old nephew
Yes, indeed.
I'm making prayer with me listening to Soulja Slim. Like, you have no choice, young man. Like, you know who this person is. It's up to us. But one thing I hope is for the real creatives, the artists that are still here, don't let this trick you out your spot.
Yeah, it
and I say that because I got sent the article, and I'll send it to y'all if y'all want to link it. It's a
sure.
very prominent known producer named Chris Clay in North Carolina. And unfortunately, and he made an AI artist. And, him being a producer, he knows that connection because he knows how to build them, stuff like that.
Right.
He made an art, sent it to an outlet for something, and they loved it. And the person started doing research on it and was able to find out that it was an AI artist. And they had a, discourse about it. And for him, it possibly worked out. And I think he's trying to get his story out about that. But for me, it clicked to where it's I hope the people who are in charge of creating this music, creating this feeling, the artists who are actively working, I hope they don't let this trick them out of their creativity to where they feel like they either have to conform or they're forced to use it. They lose that authenticity, because that's the base of hip hop, is the authenticity of it. That's the base of R&B, authenticity of it. So if you give into what is being pushed on you because you didn't get that $3 million, signing, I just hope that they don't see that as what they need to do in order to get that, and they lose what real music fans love about them. So that's the one thing I am scared of, that it forces them to feel like they have to go that route.
I can dig it.
Right.
I can dig it.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great way to end it. Marty, let people know where they can find you, follow you, read your stuff, all of that.
Sure. So I'm on social media. I'm easy, Martie Bowser. That's my name down there. Everything pretty easy. I can't be too ambiguous anymore. So just follow Instagram. I'm starting a TikTok. I'm old, so it took me a minute to jump. I'm like more work, so I gotta write the article, do the reel, do that. That wasn't so. But I'm starting that right because AI is a thing, and
Yeah, how about
influencers
that?
are.
How about that? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Ooh, that's a whole nother story. So, but yeah, just follow me on all those things. My portfolio is linked in my bio, but check me out on Blavity, Forbes, Essence, Ebony, all this good stuff. So,
Let's go.
Black Media Live,
Let's
keeping
go.
it, and then I go on these white people's platforms and tell Black stories.
Let's go.
So,
Let's go. Hey, I love
Appreciate
that.
you.
No better way to close than that.
and I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No doubt.
problem. All right, T, what we got next?
Did y'all hear about that HBCU that is no longer majority Black? Y'all
What?
hear about this?
What?
No.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What?
Exactly. The HBCU that is no longer majority Black. So is it still an HBCU?
Yeah.
Like,
Is it an HBCU?
Technically, it's considered one.
Talk to me, P. What's up?
Historically.
I
Yeah.
found this so
Historically.
interesting because there was a conversation going online that I had just found out about with all the new elimination of DEI with affirmative action being gone
Mm-hmm.
due to the Discriminations Act of 1964. Even though this isn't what it was meant for in the vein that it's being used now,
Yeah.
certain HBCUs can be sued
Mm.
if a Black person is accepted over a white person at a HBCU whose purpose was, anyway, we'll get into that.
Right.
And per, just to let you know, there's a university named Bluefield University, a HBCU that was founded in 1895. The original name was Bluefield Colored Institute.
Okay.
Right? As of right now, at this HBCU, which stands for what, guys?
Historical Black College University.
College or university.
That's right. But they
The
said
predominant race of everyone at Bloomfield
Intellectual.
University
Right.
in no way is Black. It's majority white at Bloomfield
Wow.
University. Now, granted,
Where's
West
this at?
Virginia.
Oh, West Virginia. Okay.
It's in West Virginia, which
Yeah.
gives you
yeah.
the
Yeah.
ideology.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
but nonetheless, the framework and, like I said, the thing for us to pay attention to is the fact that what's happening right now, the real life ramifications of what's happening right now.
Yeah. And what you want to say?
I was gonna make a joke and say, be careful what you ask for. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I think that the HBCU is still relevant if they have Black, faculty members, if they're teaching Black subjects, as in Black film, Black women's liberation, stuff like that. So if you are white going to the HBCU and this is what the curriculum is, you gotta learn that.
But who's to say that's going to be the curriculum anymore?
That's what
Yeah.
But if you have Black educators or the chancellor or whoever, the faculty people, they create that stuff, right? All the individual colleges within that one college, whether it be engineering or whatever the case may be, there may be a piece of okay, well, if you're here for engineering, we got to learn about Black engineers from the 1960s
Right.
to what?
But that might be going on now.
It is.
But will it go on 20 years from now?
Yeah.
How could you guarantee that?
Sorry.
Because you have the administrators who are doing that.
But wait, okay.
Okay, so let me also say this.
Yeah.
Aside from I think, and I understand where you're speaking from it from. You're speaking from it from a point that, man, there's going to be a whole nother sector of white people really learning.
They're going to learn about Black folks.
I'm not arguing that they're going to be learning. What I'm saying is that they're going to be forced to do that.
No,
might
yeah, that's
not.
what he just said, though. But yeah, right.
So
Go
what
on,
I'm
please.
saying
Yeah.
is you're going to be saying they're going to really have no other choice but to dig in and to learn about culture and to learn these things. Certain things, they are shifting laws. They're changing them.
In terms of what the educational piece is, what the curriculum is.
Yes. Do you remember when I was telling you about the whole Christopher Columbus They are changing.
But dog,
things.
that's like I mean, we're talking about like college. K through 12 is different than college in terms of what you're choosing to engage in.
Okay, I agree with that.
So
I agree with that. But I agree with that. I agree with that totally.
Activate smooth powers. Smooth powers activated.
What I'm saying is, like, understand something. The crux of these things, because it's already emboldening the ideology of reverse racism, of something.
I hear you. No, I'm listening to you.
It quite literally is.
I'm telling you
that
that
side
it
was
is.
loud as shit from
Yeah.
like saying.
Like I'm saying, like I can read something a little bit later on that can break it down a little bit better than.
Why don't you read it now?
It's going to talk directly about it.
All
But
Educate him, Paul.
Yeah, I'm with it. I'm okay with
It's-
being wrong on this. I'm okay with that.
It's emboldening certain things, and like and what about people that just want to be in the way, Smooth, because they can? What about the people that aren't going here because, you know what, I really want to be in touch more with what's going on in this place. I know I can do this, and I can come go to this school for free, and I can bump somebody black out of doing it.
All for free.
Let's-
I get your
let's-
point. I get your point.
Let's pause for a second. Now pause the record. I mean, I want you to find the information you
I
want to
got
read.
you. I got
And I want to, hold on.
Yeah.
I want to land this
Okay,
conversation
fair
a bit. Okay. Because sometimes the simple thing just needs to be said out loud. Okay. What are HBCUs for? I'll answer it.
Mhm.
I'm not going to let you answer it. I'm going to answer it.
Hmm?
They're for black people.
No, it's not.
What are they for?
They're for black ideology.
HBCUs were set up.
Yes, they were set up for that. But what I'm saying is,
So why did they? So HBCUs were
Mhm.
set up for black people to go to.
by white people. But go ahead.
Okay. But they were set up for black people to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Black people are a minority in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Some black people still need the HBCUs to
Mhm.
get their education. If you make it illegal to have favoritism for black people, and favoritism may not be the best word to use. It goes back to
Right.
my native land conversation. I just
Right.
don't have the vocabulary right now.
Right.
But favoritism
Right.
or whatever to let in African Americans, if you shift that, what's to say that school 30 years from now, 40 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now is no longer an HBCU. It is just another college and another lost opportunity for African American to go to this school. I'm pretty sure I know what Paul's going to
in
read,
the law.
but I'll just respond to that, and then Paul, I would like for you to read what you're going to read.
I think that these institutions were made for black people, right? But I think there's a deeper rooted piece to it than just being able to have attendance. I think that there's a culture that's being built out of it. This one school in West Virginia, there's so many HBCUs that have shut down due to no funding,
Okay.
right?
Right.
No funding. The school is absolutely gone, right?
Right.
This one school in West Virginia, I don't think is necessarily the bell to ring of what can potentially happen because of what is said to be happening in terms of legality and how people engage the HBCU system. Right now at Bowie State, you have a large Hispanic, I'm not gonna say large, but you have a Hispanic community there. You have different communities of minority people that are there, but they have to take those certain classes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that to give white people that much power to say that in 20 years they're going to flip it, it's like I don't know if that's really realistic.
Well,
I see that the legitimate fear is there.
Well, it's a legitimate fear because Project 25, right? The reason why it's a legitimate fear in the HBCU thing, this particular college is not the conversation, right? It's another small example of the erasure of Black culture, foreign cultures to the general white American Christian culture that is being pushed by people that are actually in power. There are Project 2025 writers and authors in office, in political positions, in government positions right now during the shutdown. At the beginning of the shutdown, Donald Trump, threatening Democrats and liberals, said, oh, you know what, now that we got a shutdown, I'm calling in one of the great authors of Project 2025 to talk about all these programs that we can cut. So, yes, with everything we can find, if you're talking about banning books, if you're talking about this school in West Virginia, if you're talking about whatever program might disappear, we could take in each one of those individual things and break down pros and cons to that individual thing. That's the trick, in my opinion. Not saying you're not an agent of Trump. That's not what I'm saying about you. But the trick is to get us down in the minutia of all of these things. Well, actually, that HBCU may have, it's been a lot of Hispanic people that go to that school. So what's the difference? And then we get into, and that's why I said I wanted to land it, because that's what y'all were getting into. Paul is defending the tiny minutiae of why that school should remain majority black. That's what happens. And then we lose shit. We lose books. You could pull a book in Florida and go, they want to get rid of this book about a queer black woman, blah, 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 blah. And then we could go, well, maybe you shouldn't read that book because X, Y, and Z. But the point is, they're banning books. They're getting rid of schools.
Yeah.
They're destroying programs. And it was on a document that said, here's what we're going to do in order to get us here.
Yeah.
So when we're seeing the things happen, not yelling at you.
Right.
When you're seeing the things happen, yes, we can have, as you used to say all the time, P, major or minors about all the little things. But the idea that Paul just said, and I know you want to read what you're going to read, and I want you to respond as well. But I just want to read what you're going to read real quick. Then you please respond, because I don't want to just yell at you. The idea that they could be sued for not allowing in black people before a white person, and it is fundamentally changing the student body of the school. I can see how someone will find that disturbing. Please read, and then you respond.
The exact article that I had, I can't pull up. I'll try to sum it up. I'll try to. And I obviously won't do it eloquently as they wrote it down. But forget even that. There is legislation directly directed towards anti-woke, which we could. What's the reasoning behind that? What's the anti-woke is anti-black, correct? Can I say that?
I think. Yeah.
Anti-non-white.
Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
or anti-American
things. With that already being imparted, and now with, like I said, with losing affirmative action, with losing DEI, it makes like they're like the law has so much chicanery in it. It can be dangerous because it can start skewing things to whereas what is happening in West Virginia, and obviously that's a interesting place,
right?
But what I'm saying is with those, and understand there are sectors of people that have been, I don't know if abusing the law is the right word to use, but that know the fine cracks and details over other sectors of people. And there's also people who the law has swayed towards to begin with. So now when you have that, and it's more emboldened towards where, you just like they're seeking and carving the place where you need it to be able to thrive and compete. Even that's being taken away from you also.
But I think that's a huge assumption, is that somehow HBCUs are producing these opportunities that other institutions are not providing for people, right?
So hold on. What do you mean by that? That's not exactly what I'm saying.
But what are you taking away? What is being taken away? I'm saying, even if we use the example of West Virginia, what's being taken away? What is the start of the downfall that we are potentially concerned about?
There are multiple other institutions that are predominantly white, correct?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you see no danger in what's supposed to be a historically black space being predominantly white?
I'm not saying it's not. I'm asking you, what is the danger?
That in and of itself.
How?
The danger is the erasure of any culture that is not deemed American culture. The danger is, you said it actually, and I didn't retort because I didn't want us to get into it on the side quest. Okay, but when we were defining what is anti-woke, I said anti-white culture. You said anti-American culture, right? My natural question was going to be, what's American culture?
How about that?
And so,
well, I didn't say culture, just American, anti-American.
Right, but still, what's anti-American, right? So, and who dictates that? Who defines that? Who? So, there's a document written by people who were strategically put
trying to define
into positions in the government and in the administration that tries to define
America should be,
what American culture is. And by their definition of American culture is white Christian nationalism.
That's it.
So the danger is, brother, I love you, but the danger is moving and shifting towards Christian nationalism.
No, I know. I guess I haven't heard a specific thing. Do we think that they take over, that white people take over these institutions and start teaching American?
Yes.
So that's
because Paul mentioned earlier, again, we can focus on this HBCU. And this is what I'm trying to say. We can get to the minutia of this HBCU. We can have a debate about how effective HBCUs are. When I asked about what an HBCU is, you mentioned they were started by white people. So we can have, we can get caught up in a debate.
Majority of them were.
Okay, fine. We could get caught up in a debate about whether HBCUs work, whether this black program works, whether this pro-black program works, whether this thing works, whether that works, whether this works. That is how we lose shit. Okay? The danger, I'm going to be quiet in a minute. The danger is to get off of this HBCU and just talk about banning books, banning programs, okay, making, again, and
taking things out of Smithsonian,
taking stuff out of museums, okay, anything that they think is something that makes me feel uncomfortable because you're learning about something I don't necessarily want you to learn about, denying slavery, watering down slavery, okay, on television, in institutions, in certain states where you can't even learn about it anymore. Is it going to affect me, you, and you? No.
I don't know, man.
How could you not?
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like this is like some sucker shit. Is why is every time when white folks are doing something, niggas start going, "Oh my god!"
No.
Bro, that's what it says.
No. With love and respect, it's the most anti-sucker shit we can do.
How?
Because sucker shit is sitting around letting them do it.
Come on,
right?
Sucker shit,
right? But it's been happening.
on.
But it's happening.
So we have to just do something about it. You cannot just sit here as anti-sucker shit, brother. It really is like sucker shit. I get what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. You're saying bitching about it.
Yeah.
But we aren't. What we're doing is pointing out what's going on in the world.
But okay, but you're pointing out, but niggas ain't doing that. Niggas ain't
No. We're doing something right now.
Not us. I'm not saying us. I'm saying as people.
But I can't make that assumption. So you talk about assumptions. I can't make that assumption that if we talk about something, that to me,
Man, listen, I think it's a valid assumption.
I mean, people have died in the streets, bro. People have gone to jail for shit.
That's what I'm saying. We have historically, but right now,
it's niggas sitting in jail right now. It's niggas gotten lost their whole job, lost their well-being.
I think we're convoluting a lot of different things, right? Erasing certain factions of American history, them being black and brown people, is a real thing that's happening,
right?
And that's and I'm not just denying that. I think the argument built upon this HBCU, people being able to sue, I don't know if that's a newer thing, right? Because people have been suing white schools all the time.
Because they had to.
Reasoning.
I understand that, right? But even when it came down to other minorities. So when Asian people weren't getting into schools because of black people were, they were like, yo, what's going on? Yo, what is this about? So I just think that the educational institution piece is a little different than the erasure of black people.
Okay.
Because I honestly, I don't
So
know.
then in the near future, there won't be a purpose for HBCUs then.
But okay, so can anyone tell me?
I'm asking. Do
Well, that's what I'm saying. What is the purpose of HBCU?
You know what I'm saying?
But see, because my purpose is
Yeah,
complete. My purpose is completely different than what I think what we're talking about, right?
Imagine
Right.
a
Let
world
T jump
where
in.
Howard University was majority white. Imagine a world where Morehouse was majority
But that's not the
white.
conversation, bro.
But here's the thing. This
It's a part
could
of
be
it.
the catalyst for the snowball of,
Right.
oh, this HBCU is now majority white.
So
Let's
what
try
niggas gonna do about it?
invade the other
Well, that's what we're
HBCU.
talking
So we're
about, right?
talking-
So
this
that's
is-
what we.
this is
so
that's
this
now
thing
happening.
possibly
That's
No,
what we're
but-
talking
I-
Hold on,
guess-
he's still talking. He's
Okay,
still
I'm sorry,
talking.
my
Go ahead,
fault.
go ahead, go ahead, T.
I'm just saying the possibility of this thing snowballing in turn because nobody thought like we, especially not this group. I'm pretty sure none of us said to ourselves like, yeah, an HBCU will one day be majority white. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like this is something that just kind of came out of nowhere, and now we're just like, oh, snap, this happened. Like,
Yeah.
and we're talking about it now, but there could be other people actually trying to like really push to have that debate about like, oh yeah, like this is a majority white HBCU.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
need to kind of like transition
I mean,
it
but
back.
do that even make sense to you though, bro?
Well, can I
yeah.
just real quick. I want to give you some grace just for a second, just so we
Okay.
won't so we just won't argue, okay? Because I think I understand the idea. I don't agree with it, brother.
Mhm.
Okay,
That's fair.
but I think I understand the idea of getting annoyed with black folks, constantly bringing up problems. Okay, and I think I get the idea of, well, what the fuck we going to do about it, right? And I think even going back to our earlier conversation about intellectualism and this, that, and another, hearing other ideas and being able to come up with a plan, right? I also think we romanticized the past a bit. There was a lot of niggas that just wouldn't get on their bus and just sit on the back of that bus and was mad at Martin Luther King and mad at Malcolm and mad at people and wanted to just, whatever, just please stop, or I don't agree with it, or I want to go harder. That's always going to be a thing, right? I think, though, that when you're being blitzed with information, and I've said this on the show a few times now, so what I don't want to do is exaggerate. We're not about to be living in the Terror Dome and Mad Max and you know what I'm saying? We're not about to be in Russia.
Right.
Okay. But what we are doing is going backwards. And there are people who have said quite literally, I would love for us to go backwards. Okay. And when you're stripping things, and I think we take for granted some of the laws and things that are being stripped because they aren't even that old. Okay. They aren't even that old. They're litigating and debating the Voting Rights Act right now at the Supreme Court level.
Literally.
So
taking blacks and browns back to 1/5 and 1/2 of a person.
So
literally.
So right. So and I just want to, because again, I want to give you some grace because I understand that like what we're gonna do about it piece. But right now we're being blitzed with information because people have been elected in, and their job is to make shit happen fast. And they're moving faster because they're losing. Okay, their numbers in polling is extremely low. Everything they're trying to do is extremely unpopular. Okay, so what they're doing is speeding things up, and also, well, I don't want to say that on mic, but there's reasons why people probably feel like I need to hurry up and get this thing done.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so people are reacting to the blitz of information that they're getting. Donald Trump bragged about doing the shutdown, how I got 40 judges in there doing the shutdown. Okay, so this isn't about politicians. Politicians are failing us, but people need information. And even if you use a little HBCU in West Virginia that we can debate to the ground on whether it's important, whether it's necessary, whether so-and-so should have the right. This is how they win these cases, by the way.
Yes.
No, an Asian guy won this, was able to sue. So why can't the white guy sue? We could do that. But the bigger principle thing is there's a fundamental shift happening in the country to bring us back to a certain space where things weren't really great for our grandparents and our old aunties and their folks. Okay, I'm not sure about lynching on the street and hanging some trees, even though it's happening.
Which is happening.
But I'm not sure it's going to be, 1930 again, quite literally. But why go backwards? And going backwards can be a dangerous thing. So I'm giving you grace because I understand what you mean by like, it's some sucker shit. Niggas is.
But aside from that, though, I'm saying that I think that everything has its lane. I think that the education, like this specifically we're talking about now with this school, I still haven't heard. I've heard the discomfort, but I haven't heard the threat.
But it's the threat is what I just explained. Honestly, the threat is if you let one thread loose on the sweater.
I want specific.
I'm not
trying to put that on y'all.
No. But I don't think it matters right now. I don't think now is the time to give me specifics on why this HBCU should still exist in West Virginia.
No, I'm not saying that, bro.
Okay.
What I'm saying is,
good.
No one has expressed to me the real threat. What is the threat of this happening?
I think we have. I think you just don't agree with it.
How old is your son?
6.
Okay, my grandchildren are 5, 5, and 2.
Yeah, my daughter's 2. My son is 11.
What I'm saying? We're talking about things that are happening right now, right? And like Adam said, a string is being pulled currently. That one in another 20 years, who's to say that shirt isn't all the way up here?
I get the analogy. I just don't understand the threat.
Okay, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. I went to a PWI and I went to a HBCU, and I can speak about the differences of both. I can speak about the
because you locked in on the HBCU. So if we talk, we're
PWI still majority white. Do you know?
UMBC is probably a mixture, maybe of Asian and white.
Right. Exactly.
Right, because it's a STEM school.
So it's like
right, but then when you go to Bowie, when you go to a HBCU, and you see the different demographics, but you also do see the white people, you also do see the Hispanic people on the campus. It's like, okay, that's what this educational institution was supposed to be in the first place. All educational institutions are supposed to be where anyone should be able to get in.
So we're using the HBCU as a springboard.
Yeah,
Paul mentioned that they're taking advantage of laws that were just passed because of the loss of affirmative action in a general sense to whitewash this school. We're speaking about the larger issue and the trend that we're noticing. We mentioned the books, we mentioned the museums, we mentioned all this stuff. So the threat is losing institutions. Again, we can get in the mud about whether a school, whether HBC, I haven't gone to none of them. Okay, I ain't been to it. I technically went to Bowie for a few, but I didn't go to Bowie. I went to Prince George's Community College, and then I took some online classes at UMUC.
Yep.
Okay, I don't have the experience. Okay, I could. My wife went to both. She could debate you on this. We had that when we had the next wind down. You know what I mean? But I don't. And y'all can have it because I can't speak to it.
Yeah.
But it's the institutions getting rid of this one school. We could have kicked this conversation off by just talking about the museums again.
All right. Well, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
All right. So when we talk about getting rid of an institution like the Black church, I think we can all argue as to why that's a big issue. Getting rid of the Black church, we can articulate that. I think in terms of us articulating another institution that's also important, we don't know that the layperson doesn't know the value of the institution. The institution is not just because it brings in Black students. It's because you have the Black faculty that is there teaching a certain thing. So even if you have nothing but white students in the room, if you still have the Black educators that are teaching what that is HBCU has historically been like rooted in.
But how do we know that
the institution hasn't been destroyed?
But how do we know that will continue?
I'm gonna take it much more simple than that.
Yeah,
from a morality standpoint.
Yeah.
Right. Just and listen to where I'm going with this. It may not hold educational volition, right? But from a morality standpoint, where certain spaces have been carved out for you,
right,
have been carved out for you, and not only I mean, I'm not.
No, you go on it. You go for it. You got it.
Yeah.
We see
taking
you.
over like a space that's been carved up. Like after a while, it's like, my God, now, not where do I go, but it's like just even in thought process that to me, it still speaks of an ideology of supremacy. It speaks of, like, you know what, like I get what you're saying about the whole, you know, as long as everybody
is an ideology of supremacy.
As long as you know, everybody is learning and all that other stuff, there are all sorts of places to learn.
Right.
It is an ideology of supremacy. It is.
Okay. No, I accept it. I guess.
And if we allow an ideology of supremacy, even in spaces that are debatable, right? If Ron wants to make this studio a studio that focuses on Black culture, and the government comes in and goes, no, that can't be. We could argue that a lot of white people use the studio. A lot of Latin people come in the studio. But they're coming into the studio knowing that the studio is a place that is a focus of Black culture. To your question earlier about, like, well, if the teachers and the faculty is still there, then what does it matter? Well, if they're already figuring out a way to make sure that the students can't get in there, what's to say that they don't figure out a way to go, you know what? And it's probably wrong if these HBCUs are saying every HBCU got a Black dean. Okay. Not saying every HBCU got majority Black professors. I don't know. But if there's legislation passed down that says, no, we don't think that's right to have majority Black educators in the HBCU. We don't think that, because there's no reason to believe that that won't be next. Then that thing is not an HBCU anymore. It's just a school, and it's another school that's harder for non-whites to get into. And that's
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'll stand down. I guess I'm a lot more maybe cynical than a lot of other people are when they hear certain things.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's no different than, like, in my mind, redistricting of neighborhoods and stuff like that.
Yeah,
more of a
and that's
threat.
messed up.
Well, wait, we can talk about that.
But right, but I guess, but we can see in my mind, I can see the more the correlated or direct threat in terms of that being the case than I can necessarily of people in West Virginia being able to get into a HBCU based upon whatever, right? I think a lot of things are also regional. So if you have majority of people who are white in West Virginia, you have a large Black American space, yeah, then probably they are probably gonna go to a cheaper school. But that's not necessarily happening on the other side of the Appalachian, though. But
then the 10 to 15% of the Black population that's Black in West Virginia can't get into the little school in West Virginia.
I don't okay. I don't think it works that way.
Even if it doesn't, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Okay, but either way, and again, we don't gotta keep arguing the same point. We can begin to wrap this up. But I just think that there's a bigger trend of things that's going on in the country.
If we put this all the way out on the island by itself, we can pick apart those minute details. But when you listen to the ideology and the crux of things incorporated with everything else that's happening, it isn't a far-fetched ideology, in my personal opinion, at all.
No, and it's important to your earlier point, which again I want to give you grace on, because I get that frustration. I know there's a lot of people that probably heard you say that and were like, yeah, niggas, all right, we could talk about this all day. What are niggas going to do? Niggas are going, but this, the reason why Black people, and this is the reason why a lot of this shit is coming up, because Black people and people of color and queer people and whoever is considered others in this country complain a lot in the white man's eyes, frankly, and a lot of the election was a referendum on that, and it was a literal. Now, yeah, I really need y'all. I mean, look, Andrew, Schultz, and all of them were literally saying, like, I don't get to do and say whatever the fuck I want without y'all complaining. Shut up. And here's my one Black guy on my panel who agrees with me. That's not you. Yeah. Okay. But here's my Black guy on my Indian friend, or whoever, who agrees with that too. So maybe all y'all, here's my gay friend who's like, shut the fuck up too. Okay. So we got to keep talking. We got to keep being a thorn in their side. We got to. But to your point, got to back it up with action. It's something we've been saying on this show for years, even in our first run on this show. I know. even in our first run on this show, we would always point out organizations that are doing the work.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of organizations out there and people that are doing the work. And there are a lot of people who have been, especially recently, who've been getting locked up, getting visited at their job. They got people, I mean, we could do this in another show. There's feds showing up at people's doors. Okay, so some weird stuff going on, but, you know, yeah, we can argue that school down till we blue in the face. The bigger thing is that there's this thing going on, and people should recognize it, all right?
That's fair.
All right, let's go to something lighter, LT.
Love you, bro.
Yeah, I love you too, man.
Yeah,
We love we all love each other, man.
Love each other.
Yeah.
Black love.
Let's talk about Jay-Z.
For most
Let's
of
talk
us.
about Verzuz. Yeah.
So there's been been this ever since the Verzuz of Cash Money versus No Limit. There was a new, like, it was brought up saying like what the next Verzuz should be, I guess, and then the names Jay-Z and Eminem came up, and there was somebody that was really debating hard that M would basically win that Verzuz. And we're here to kind of like talk about like what our opinions are about this verse. I know Adam has his opinions.
Oh, for sure.
Very strong opinions.
Very,
as well
very.
as Paul. But yeah, let's
Very strong. Very strong. And just to add a little context to that, thank you, T, but just to add a little
Jay-Z
context to that, Jay-Z said that there's nobody that can stay on the stage with him.
And that's cap.
And people are, let's go. There are people who were throwing people out there. And to LT's point, someone threw out Eminem, and it was a great debate. I don't personally believe it. I love Eminem. I got into, shouts out to Kaya. And the ladies of ISBC.
Yeah, man.
I got I love y'all, but y'all were pretty mean online all them years ago when Eminem got elected to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I defended it. And you all were kind of mean. Sometimes we could debate without that. We just had a nasty debate here. Nobody had to call. Sometimes y'all, I love y'all, but sometimes y'all kind of like, dang, all right.
Head-ass Negro.
You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, I just like Eminem.
That's what I figured.
I definitely agree to Eminem. I'm not a Lord Jamar guy. Like Eminem is hip hop as hip hop can be.
Yeah.
Eminem is a legend. Eminem deserves to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Eminem deserves every accolade that he's got. Eminem has had 2 careers, and this is important. Eminem has had 2 careers. Eminem had the Slim Shady early on career, and then he fell off hard.
Pre and post addiction.
Facts. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. With all due respect.
But he fell off hard from the year 2008, maybe 6 to about 2010, 11.
This became a recovery, right? Was that the album?
Yeah, Eminem was when Eminem was wearing double bandanas and you know,
Arm sleeves.
Yeah, Eminem had fallen, but then he came back. He resurged his career. Did the joints with Rihanna. Did I'm Not Afraid.
Scholar. What's the girl name? Scholar. Something.
Yeah, had the joints with Bruno Mars, I believe. He did. They did the Bad vs. Evil album. Him and Royce.
Yep.
Eminem, nice. But we learned something in this last verses. Something I was arguing in this studio. Shouts to Ox. I've tried to tell niggas. Some of these songs you don't think about. People make the same mistake with verses every time. One to make a mistake, not realize it's a celebration of music. Okay,
yeah,
and that's the point I'm gonna get to later after everybody makes their point. Okay, so put that to the side. But 2, it's not about hits. I don't know why people don't get this. The Lox don't have as many hits as Dipset. Jadakiss was up that jump doing mixtape freestyles, not big hits. Understand what I'm trying to say to you? Like, Hey Mars and not the Lox as a group, but okay. Not the Lox as a group, but they won the battle because Jadakiss was outperforming, and he was digging deep into a bag of songs. You were like, I remember the one part where Joel Santana stupidly was like, "You ain't got no song for the ladies," and they whipped out all these features.
They don't know about. We got Grammys. They just know Grams.
Yeah. But bro, but. They just did like a collage of all these little like,
right.
But it was just like verses on like Mariah Carey songs and all these R&B that you forgot about. Jay-Z has a almost 40-year career. This nigga started off on a Big Daddy Kane song.
With Jazzo.
Okay? Jay-Z is on all sorts of mixtapes, and Dear Summer is a joint that whenever he performs Dear Summer on stage, the crowd goes
and that
wild.
was on Bleak's album.
That's on Bleak album, my dude. You understand? This nigga got verses. He got 6 Beyonce joints he could do.
Yeah. I still think he got comp.
Talk to me.
Busta Rhymes.
Nigga, you crazy.
Nah.
What?
Only thing
You're
that Busta
crazy.
Rhymes would have on Jay-Z is energy and a show.
Yeah, it'd be a great show.
But that's what we're just talking about, right? It's about the presentation, the performance, and you have someone who is a very anime person. Aside from hits,
This is a good point.
because I think Busta
agree, but
Rhymes
this is a
can
good
go
point.
hit for hit with Jay. I think so.
Nah, I don't agree with that.
He can't go hit for hit, but his stage show is amazing.
But you have to remember, they tangled a lot with with the Neptunes, with a lot of those same producers during that same time, right? The Timberlands, I think
with all respect to Busta, he ain't had no hits like I Want to Love You. I Just Want to Love You.
Past the Cavassier, like how many? What? We can sit and go for it, line by line.
I'm gonna say this as an avid like Busta Rhymes fan, like love the guy. I was one of the first people that was real upset when he cut his hair.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
he cut his mojo off. You know what I'm
he got
saying?
sullied after that, huh?
But here's the thing. I still can't deny Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? Just like Adam said, like almost 40 years of just a discography and repertoire, not including his features. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that dude's been on everybody's stuff. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's almost
All
like
right, so you threw out. Oh, sorry. See, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say like Busta Rhymes has his features as well.
Yeah.
But mainly Busta Rhymes like solo / flip mode stuff. That was the stuff that we all remembered. Like his features on stuff, I can remember maybe a handful, but I really can't remember like times where he got on somebody else's track and I remembered like, oh man, I remember when he came down and
Chris Brown.
I mean, that's a big one.
His record.
That's part of the handful. That's one.
That's the big one.
I guess what I'm saying is we also can't remember a time that Busta Rhymes was quiet.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
So during that time, we got the whole Khaled rise. We got like that whole Southern piece. I just think that
it's different.
Okay.
Listen. If Paul, I know you want to throw a name out there. I just want to say this real quick. I start off by saying you crazy. I'm going to back off of you're crazy. Okay. I think there are a few artists that there is no one for them to battle. And I think Busta Rhymes is one of them. Okay. It doesn't mean he's better. He beat Jay-Z. It's just no one, because as y'all were talking, I had to correct myself. I mean, this man was in Leaders of the New School.
He was.
Okay. This man definitely, I mean, he definitely deserves, and everyone's giving him his respect, but I just think that because of how different Jay-Z's career, and I'll explain this more because I want Paul to jump in, how different Jay-Z's career was. And I think people are kind of underestimating how uniquely different and long and like vast Jay-Z's career is. Go ahead, P. I'll finish this point later.
All right, you threw out Busta Rhymes. This is my personal opinion. Jay-Z has only one contemporary, in my personal opinion, and that's Nas. You know what I'm saying? Only one person that has that was really around at the exact same time as him that has the same mystique and appeal. And if we even were to be, it's like cynical and lighthearted in the series, he's been his nemesis forever. Like we all know the whether it's true or not. Whenever Nas,
that's
comes
from a
out with
lyricism
with
standpoint.
anything, Jay-Z comes out like whenever Nas about to drop anything. Y'all know the running joke.
You
know what I'm saying? Like,
Jay-Z drops the same time Nas.
But that's a lyricism thing. No one ever said that. No one, I don't think, has ever argued that Nas's music.
But I think he's the only contemporary. I don't think anyone, like even when it comes to hits and then popularity and then like let's also understand that like certain people bring a feeling. So we are there. Jay-Z's performance, so Nas does one mic. You know what I'm saying? I think those two artists are the only ones that can do that for and with one another, in my opinion.
I am going to approach the Nas thing the same way I'm going to approach the Busta Rhymes thing, by not being disrespectful to Nas and going, "You crazy."
Right.
I think Nas is kind of like the Eminem example, where, again, Hove has never had a downtime. Hove has never had a down period. There's never been a period in music, unless you're counting right now, where he may be retired. Okay, but just like a year ago, maybe it's been 2 at this point. What's it called, P? The God is, or the 6-minute verse.
But that was Khaled's album.
God did.
No, but it was Jay-Z's verse. I'm just saying, we were all ranting and raving about this. They got a 6-minute verse on it. With Nas on the track, by the way. But he's all over the J Electronica new album. He's on the Big L album. So but we can say that right now.
Before 444, what was the album before that?
That was that was a joint with Holy Grail. No, that was it. Yeah, Holy Grail.
That was at least a good.
No, so that's not the point I'm making. No, everybody's made bad albums. What I'm talking about. So
no. I was saying the gap between them.
He has gaps between albums. Yeah.
But I feel like he wasn't even really doing that many, like. Well, he did have big, because he did a lot of Khaled work. He was
because again, what I'm saying is, Nas had a down period, and he made a comeback, right? Like he had his run after Stillmatic. The thing slowed down after the jump with Khalees in the blue dress and all that.
Yeah.
Hip hop is dead.
No, that's not the same album, but I got checked.
Yeah, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
Then he's had this Hit Boy run, which is amazing.
4.
Okay.
Or was it 6?
But there was a gap. I think it's like 6 of them.
Yeah.
It's 2 different series. But there's a little gap. Okay. Hove has never had a gap. Like, Hove has been in it, because that period you're talking about, Smooth, was when he was doing the Carter albums and working with Beyonce. Okay. And by the way, writing Beyonce songs. Man is in the Writers Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Only Missy, it's only like him and Missy doing this.
Sometimes when we talk about like the verses, we have to be specific. So when you say like contemporaries, like Jay's only contemporary,
in my opinion,
in your opinion, I think about that from a lyricist standpoint. Now we think about like from a discography.
Yeah, that's not the point I was making.
I know it's not the point you're making. I'm just saying that I think that we have to kind of like break down what we're actually looking at, right? So when you said it's not necessarily about the hits, it's about the performance and what cadence you have.
But just give me a moment, because the reason why I'm bringing up all of that is that I am kind of making that point that sometimes on Versus, people shock you with songs that they wrote. Or songs that you didn't even realize they were part of, right? That's kind of what Jada was doing, like that freestyle, that whole. I mean, it's all of that, right? Yes, Busta Rhymes would bring energy, and Busta Rhymes would be fun to watch. But I'm making the argument that there is nobody that Jay-Z could go. I'm agreeing with him, not because they aren't better rappers than Jay-Z or people we like better, but because there's not many better rappers than Jay-Z. Jay-Z is top quite literally, and I think that just as a sidebar.
Black Thought, but go ahead.
No, of course it's no. Black Thought is amazing.
Thought is incredible.
Black Thought is probably better or just as good as Jay-Z as a technical rapper.
Technically,
that has to be acknowledged. But what I'm saying is that sometimes I think with Jay-Z, because Jay-Z's easy to hate, niggas like to kind of like downplay what Hove is shockingly good. Okay? Hove can do anything on the mic, like literally rap any way. He can rap with anyone. He can fit in. Me and Paul was talking about this the other day. I mean, he's got songs with Juvenile. He's got songs with UGK. He's got songs. Not many people that could do that.
West Coast stuff he wrote for Dre.
West Coast stuff. He's on there. He's got songs with Rakim.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, this is that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not. So when you bring up Busta Rhymes, you bring up Eminem, or you bring up whoever, Nas, it's that some of these people, it's difficult to find a matchup for them.
Right.
Because it makes sense for Cash Money and No Limit to battle. Yeah, honestly, I'm going to agree with Paul just because of like if I'm thinking as like a show, as a producer, as a person putting together a show, right? then yeah, I want to put Fat Joe and Ja Rule together because they work together. They both work with Irv Gotti. They both with they
had
both
a similar formula.
Right? I want to put the Dipset and the Locks together because they were two crews and this, that, and another. I do want to put Nas and Jay-Z together, not because Nas got as many hits as Jay-Z, but because of the history of what happened. But in terms of hit for hit for hit for hit, song for song for song,
Nas ain't gonna happen.
nobody.
Yeah,
I don't think.
I agree with you.
Yeah, just like there's nobody that can beat Missy. There's nobody that can beat Mary J. Blige. There's nobody that can. These are just my opinion.
Yeah.
There's no one that could beat Janet Jackson because of not that there aren't better singers than Janet Jackson.
I'm thinking about like song-wise.
Think about them. Think about all these.
Yeah,
I just don't. I think there's just certain people.
because that R. Kelly remix is what.
Yeah. Hey, no, I ain't gonna go there. I ain't gonna be one of those guys. We already had an R. Kelly conversation on the show. But if he was out, if none of that stuff were true,
no one
in the Elseworld, in the multiverse,
Nowhere else.
no
and
one
on Earth 632,
He's the
define
king.
universe
Not
where
one-
R. Kelly
not
wasn't
one
was a good man. Yeah,
A law-abiding
person.
citizen.
on that world, on that multiverse,
yes and
where Iron Man is black and
Miles
Superman is a
Morales,
woman.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and Miles Morales is your main Spider-Man.
All right.
And R. Kelly
Yep.
is a good, decent human. Okay?
Yep.
Nobody.
No one.
Yo, did you see
Smoking
the
everybody.
animated series?
Huh?
He had the anime series where he was doing all the voices of the people.
No.
This nigga is done.
Dog.
Oh, yo.
You know how many trap
Trapped
closets that
Closets?
nigga did?
Yeah.
He's a whole screenwriter.
He had one with the pimp was walking with the. This nigga was crazy.
Come on, man.
Okay,
What's
Lucius.
up?
Yeah, Lucius.
Pimp Lucius.
Pimp Lucius. I like the joke. He was like, it wasn't even a trap in the closet. Nigga was talking about the whole premise was him calling his girl and arguing with her on the phone.
That was that TP3, Double Up album.
Okay, he was arguing, but it was like, okay, he's arguing with the girl on the phone, and the nigga,
Bitch, you burn my clothes.
yeah, he was like, Milton. Hold on, Milton, get the car, Milton.
Back this bitch up. Yo,
Nigga driver name was Milton.
Yeah.
He was an insane
Yeah,
person.
my man wasn't asleep.
Ooh, bitch, I wish you would
Yeah,
burn my
that was
clothes.
crazy. Okay, Milton. Dog, this
Who the
nigga
fuck is Milton?
his driver. That's like his real job. I bet Milton. You're stupid. Yo. Anyway, man, shouts to Verzuz, man. I'm happy Verzuz is back. We had a conversation, the three of us, me, T, and Nargis, about Verzuz. I'm worried about Verzuz. I'm not quite sure. Even as happy as I was about the No Limit Cash Money Drink, this is a nostalgia, and I love No Limit and just seeing them up there. And I think they did right with the mystical piece. I think they handled the mystical piece great. They just kind of like mystical never exists, right? Basically,
Right. My phone falling.
Oh, okay.
Shit.
3, 2, 1. This shit, fuck, I'll keep that. That's funny.
like what?
Yeah,
Right.
I'll keep
3, 2, 1.
Well, yeah. I know. we good. No, but as much as it was fun to watch, there was a lot of problems with Verzuz.
They traded me to school like the girl from Family Matters.
Yeah, they did. Mystical with upstairs that never came back. Baby. Okay.
Jamie.
And Cash Money did not with Wayne. They kind of just like he was like he was sorely missed. But beyond all of that, there were problems with Verzuz. They usually you do like 20 songs or 25 songs. They cut it off.
Yeah. The way that they ended that, and even that new format is kind of sketchy.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it ran by Swiss and
It's still ran by them, but the problem was
I think it's a lot more corporate also nowadays.
yes, and the problem is they did it at Complex Con. And apparently, like, Gotti or somebody was, like, performing later. It was, like, rushing them off the stage. Either way, because we got to wrap up, I'm concerned about Verzuz. I'm not sure how long Verzuz will last. I'm not sure what artists they're going to be able to get, this, that, and another. But while it's here, I'm enjoying it. So, shout outs to Verzuz, man. All right, man. It was a nice, energetic conversation today.
I love my brothers, man. This is what
Nah,
we do.
nah,
this
man.
is what we do,
I
man. I
think
love
You know
it.
what I'm saying?
In all seriousness, I think that all of this is necessary.
Yeah.
We got to hash these things out. It goes back to what we talked about at the very top of the show. We got to be able to have these arguments.
That's what we're here for.
Me and you or us, we could all disagree, but what we
Yeah.
can't do is go, you're not worthy of the conversation.
Oh, yeah,
about
of course,
that?
of course.
You see what I'm saying?
Like how we talking about,
Like we talked about at the
Earlier
beginning of
with
this
the
show. So
anti-intellectual.
that's the theme of this show, then of this episode, then that's the theme of this
It is what
episode.
it is.
We got to hash these things out because we all understand that things got to change moving forward in some way.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to do it. So I
we're going to
appreciate
be a
y'all.
part of.
And we already have this issue in America with this hierarchy.
Yeah.
There's no reason to put hierarchy on top of us.
The facts,
Even
I
more,
agree with
right?
that
Like
100%.
more barriers on top of
Yeah.
us getting to a common goal, like we said earlier.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Everyone has their place. Everyone has their audience. Everyone has their medium or their mode.
Facts.
And I think that,
they
you
all
know what I mean?
deserve
You find
respect.
that medium in that mode.
Yeah.
But we don't have to, shit on other people because they're doing it differently or whatever the case may be.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. So shout outs to everybody. Shout outs to these heaters. Shout outs to these heaters right here.
Yeah, handling business.
68, 69.
Man, I tell you what, these heaters are beautiful
right.
and they feel great.
Yeah.
Okay, so shout outs
Definitely
to
necessary.
shout outs to these heaters. Shout outs to Ox. Shout outs to the
Yes,
whole
thank
squad
you,
up in
Ox.
here, man. We always appreciate having the
bless.
opportunity.
Cold stone cold skirt,
Yeah.
man. I ain't got no heater over here, and I'm fine.
Why you don't got a heater,
I'm
bruh?
This thing got a hoodie on,
Right.
a hockey shirt.
But he got his
Oh,
ankles out though.
You got a hoodie.
Yeah, I got a hoodie on. I do got a hoodie on.
hoodie and a
My elbows
hockey
out.
jersey
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
What-
You
what's
dress
your
like the
point?
summertime. Dear
Smooth,
summer.
Hey,
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Smooth over here complaining because he got the baby sleeves on
Yeah.
today.
Oh, I ain't cold.
Smooth got an Under Armour shirt on.
I ain't cool.
He does.
Oh.
Unofficial.
Baltimore, you. Unofficial Under Armour.
Unofficial.
Yeah. That joke got 2 U's on it. Anyway.
Adam got that hoodie from Flip from above the
It's
rim.
under
Hey,
Europe.
listen, man, this is Central, boy. You don't know nothing about this, boy. You better get you some name brand shit. Huh?
Hey, go ahead.
Hey. Yo, no, seriously, man.
Fuck no, I got Levi's on.
Yeah, no, you good, you good. No, man. Hey, shout out to everybody
Let's
for
start
tuning.
being the leaders.
There we go. Yeah, that was very
Stop being
elitist of me.
Yeah,
Very
see?
elitist.
Look at it.
I'm headed to the vineyard after this.
Right.
All right. Anyway, shouts out to everybody. Remember to follow us on all of the platforms.
Yeah.
MSR Tribe on Instagram.
There are some things that we can be elitist about. Be
Okay.
elitist about listening to our content,
Yeah.
posting our content,
I like
Yeah.
that.
sharing. Like, it's okay to be elitist
Yeah.
about us.
That was smooth. Bro.
Hey.
Smooth.
That was
That was smooth.
transition.
I appreciate.
love
I
that.
That's what I
appreciate
got you
that. And
for that, brother.
we're gonna leave it at that. We're gonna leave it at that. I appreciate that. That was helpful.
Bang.
Yeah, because I was like, anyway,
Hurry
appreciate
up,
that.
cut it off before
Yeah,
one of
man.
y'all say something stupid.
All right. Anyway, man, Brother Smooth was in the building.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, LT. Always working hard behind those boards. I'm
Yeah,
Adam
no.
Butler. That's Paul Span.
Black Man Span still in the building.
Remember to be great.
Elevate us.
Up out of here.
Yes, sir.
You don't need no heat, LT.
Yeah. He in the hole.
Cold ass ankles.
That's why I ain't changed the camera over the last hour.